Hi everyone, for this month's TWF recipe, we're going to spice things up a little bit and do a how-to video with this month's recipe provider. So I'm so excited because for this month, we have my dear friend, Mandy Gallo, providing us with not only one, but two recipes. So this month, she provided us with a recipe for strawberry spinach salad. And if you have a sweet tooth and you want to make something special for Valentine's Day, she also provided a recipe for red velvet kiss cookies. So, Mandy, want to take a few minutes to introduce yourself?
Sure. Okay, so I am Mandy Gallo. I went to college with Bethany. We both went to IUP. And I am a culinary arts teacher. So I teach high schoolers basically how to cook. So I have a ton of really good recipes and a lot that are healthier options because I do have a minor in nutrition and I do like to instill good eating habits in their diets, which is hard to do. And this is actually a recipe that I have my students do, and they're always like, ew, spinach and strawberries, like that's weird. And I have had a ton of kids who eat this and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that works together. So I hope you guys like it. I think it's a really good one. And they always love the kiss cookies too that I gave the recipe for. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so I'm going to bring you down to my workspace. I have everything kind of laid out already. And I think, Bethany, you have a similar setup, right?
I do.
All right. Okay, so the first thing we're going to make is the vinaigrette. The nice thing about a vinaigrette is you can add as much and as little seasoning as you want. This one just has, I guess, 4 seasonings in it. So in my bowl of seasonings, I have sugar, a teaspoon and a half of sugar. I have, I just put on the recipe like a pinch of salt, pepper, and paprika. And I used smoked paprika. It gives it a little bit more of a smoky flavor, but regular is good. Honestly, smoked paprika was the only thing I had in my cabinet. So I winged it with that. But like I said, you can add pretty much anything you want to it. So I'm going to put that in the bowl.
So I'm putting the sugar.
Sugar, yep.
The red vinegar.
Yeah, you can add that in now. So the red wine vinegar, I think it was a tablespoon, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then the only other ingredient to this vinaigrette is garlic. So you just need a half a clove, or if you're a big garlic lover, you could add the whole clove.
Okay, so Mandy, I didn't really measure out my paprika, my salt, my pepper. So I'm just doing like dashes of each. That's
perfect.
Fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're someone who like really needs to measure it out, a pinch is actually 1/8 of a teaspoon. So you could always measure out the 1/8 of a teaspoon too.
You know, that's really helpful because I never knew exactly what a pinch meant.
Yeah, it's just 1/8 of a teaspoon. Some measuring spoon sets have it, some don't.
And I think we talked about this too. I usually buy the already minced garlic that's in the jar. And you said use 1/4 of a teaspoon of that?
Yes, that's correct. Yep. All right, and then I just whisk it together. If I make a big batch of this dressing, I usually put it in a mason jar and shake it. And then whatever I don't use, you just leave it out on the counter. You don't really want to refrigerate this vinaigrette because the olive oil gets weird sometimes and like hardens, but that should be good for now. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is cook your chicken. And I always like to make the vinaigrette. Can you come down? I always like to make the vinaigrette first because the longer it sits, all of those spices like come together and kind of marinate. So always make that first. Okay, so this was a whole chicken breast, and I just sliced it long ways. I set it up like this and sliced it in half. I always slice my chicken breast in half because I feel like when you use the whole chicken breast, it's just so thick and it doesn't cook well and it dries out. So I either pound them down or I slice them in half like this. So this is 1/2. This is actually the other half already cooked, but I'm going to show you how to cook it anyway. Okay. So sliced in half. And then the other key to making chicken taste really good is seasoning it really well. I think people get nervous about adding too much salt and seasoning to it, but that's really what gives it flavor because chicken's kind of bland.
And Mandy, how do you pound chicken if you don't have a hammer, like a kitchen hammer?
I use a piece of saran wrap and a rolling pin.
Oh.
And I just get my aggression out from the day and just smack the chicken. Okay, so I'm gonna season the first side of it really well with this is just Himalayan pink sea salt, fancy, and then some garlic powder. And you could add pepper if you want, but as you saw, I seasoned it liberally. Okay, and I'm just gonna throw a little bit of olive oil on my pan. And I told Bethany before we started the video that grill pans are my favorite now. This was something I put on my registry, and I'm so glad I did because we use it all the time, and we don't have a grill, so it's a good alternative. All right, so we're just gonna cook it for 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and you want it to get nice dark marks on it. If you do it in a pan, same thing. You want to make sure that it gets really brown. Okay, and once I put the one side on, then I season the other side. All right, so the chicken is ready to flip. It's got some nice grill marks on it. That's my favorite part. So we'll let the other side cook for another 3 minutes or so.
Okay. So while we wait for that, Mandy, what's it been like teaching family and consumer sciences during COVID? Because I'm assuming you've done some classes virtually.
Yeah, so my school's been like flip-flopping back and forth, but we did have a solid 2 months where everything was virtual. So it stinks for the students because I try to get my kids in the kitchen like at least twice a week. So basically I would just do these nice little cooking demonstrations and try to make funny videos for them so that they want to watch them. And then they just kind of take notes on it or answer questions. But it just stinks. I mean, some of them would do it at home. They would try out the labs at home, but I couldn't require them to because my district has like a low SES population. So they're not able to buy all the ingredients that I would normally provide for them. So I'm glad that we're like slowly getting back into the classroom more. But it has been fun trying to figure out how to make videos and stuff. I'm ready for Food Network.
I think you should be on Food Network myself.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, next re-drumming, I would love to be the pioneer woman. So I just cut the tops off of them and then I just slice them into pieces like that. And I think that's good for the salad because then you get a nice big bite of strawberry. Okay, so I'm gonna slide this over a little bit and I'll get a big bowl. Okay, on the recipe I said 2 cups of spinach, but honestly you could add however much you want. Same with the dressing. Whoopsies, throwing things. You can add as much of it as you want. So I would just add a little bit of it, toss it, and see if it looks the way you want it to be, and then you can always add more. So I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit on. And we'll give it a toss.
So don't put all of the dressing on at once.
Yeah, I would pour maybe like half of it and see if you want more. I'm someone who loves a lot of dressing, so I might have given you too much dressing, but that's okay. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The leaves are covered, and I do always like to toss the spinach first instead of just like adding it on the salad and eating it because like I said, I like dressing, so I like to make sure that everything's coated pretty well. So at this point, I would probably plate it. Strawberries and almonds. I think I said like 4 to 5 strawberries, but again, add as many as you want. And just sprinkle them with some almonds. And I think I put like 2 tablespoons, but again, add as much as you want. And I actually put this recipe into a calorie counter in case anyone's calorie conscious out there. And if you add the amounts that I said, then it's right around 400 calories for the salad. So I'm gonna set this to the side and cut up my chicken. Also, so this chicken's still cooking. If you're making it in a pan, I always just add like a fourth a cup of water to it if the center's not cooking, if it's taking a long time. And then I just put a lid over top of it. And that helps to kind of steam the inside of the chicken and not like dry it out from cooking so long. So that's a little tip too. Even with the grill pan, I'll stick it on top like that and let it continue cooking. And lower the heat too if you think it's getting too dark. And then the last thing too, you always want to let your chicken rest. I'm trying to get it in the, so that the like juices redistribute. So wait to cut it up a couple minutes once you pull it off your pan or grill pan. And then you can just slice it up. All right, so we'll add the chicken on top. And you don't have to add the chicken. That's one thing I like about this recipe is it has almonds already, so it has a lot of protein, and it has fruits and veggie, and every food group is pretty much represented. You could add some feta cheese if you wanted some dairy on there, but it's a pretty complete protein meal. But yeah, so I'll bring myself back up a little. So yeah, Bethany, yours looks beautiful.
Thank you. Mine doesn't, I opted for no chicken.
Okay, yeah. And then it's a vegetarian dish too. So
yeah,
love that.
Very versatile. Should we take a bite?
I think we should definitely try it. I'm hungry just looking at it.
I'm going to try to get a little bit of everything on my bite.
So good.
It is good. I really like the dressing.
I like it too. It has like a real like good hit of garlic in it. If you like garlic, you might need a breast mint after this lunch, but it's totally worth it.
And almonds too. I've never really put almonds on salads before.
The chicken is really good too. So good. I hope you guys love this recipe.
Okay, so you gave us one really healthy option, but you also gave us a sweet treat option as well. So the red velvet kiss cookies, right?
Yes, red velvet kiss cookies. And I made them today with actually a strawberry cake mix because I wanted to tell you guys that you don't have to make them red velvet. I just chose red velvet because that's like a typical Valentine's Day flavor. But so is the strawberry, and then they're like chocolate covered strawberries, and like I said, they're a hit in my classroom, both versions. Or you could use a chocolate cake mix, very versatile, super easy recipe. Box of cake mix, 2 eggs, a third of a cup of vegetable oil, and then you need powdered sugar that you're gonna roll them in, and after they bake, you stick a nice little Hershey kiss on top of them.
Well, I think this was a great TWF recipe for February with the strawberries and the red themed cookies for Valentine's Day. I think it's great. So thank you so much for taking us into your classroom and teaching us how to make some healthy and sweet lunches.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that you asked me to be on this. I told Bethany I wish I could come to all of your luncheons, but unfortunately, my lunch is from 11 to 11:30, and it's pretty strict with all my classes. So I wish I could join, but I'm glad that I can be a part of it in some way.
Me too. Thank you, Mandy.
Yeah, no problem.